Good afternoon, everyone. I am KP George, your Portland County Judge, and we are here today to talk about specific details. Especially, I'm joined by our elections administrator, John Oldham, and he will be giving specific information about upcoming and maybe one of the most important elections in our lifetime, and the specific details. I will ask John to start with the details of it. John, please go ahead and discuss the details.
Okay, folks, we are meeting here today in the room that we've been using for the last month for training poll workers. We've conducted nearly 50 classes over the last month, and these range anywhere from 10 to 20, 15 people. So that's a lot of judges we've trained. That's important because many of them are new, so they don't have a lot of experience. But we hopefully will have them all up to speed by Election Day. We are disseminating early voting materials to our workers Friday afternoon. We will also be, they'll be setting up their polling places for early voting on Monday. We've also spent a lot of time trying to improve things like chain of custody to ensure we do a lot of testing on our equipment to verify that it works accurately. All our coding and ballot layout is done in-house, so it's not going to a third party. Want to reassure voters that voting in Fort Bend County is secure. We have no modems in polling places or connected to any voting equipment or to our servers. Everything is done in conjunction with the representatives of two parties. All the polling places are staffed by representatives of both parties. All our testing was done and representatives of both parties. So that's an important message in this day and age that we conduct things fairly and securely at Fort Bend. We will be opening on Monday 28 early voting sites. Some are huge, like Cinco Library. Some are very small. You can go to our website and look at. We can see a listing of those sites and also a map that they're scattered throughout the county. So we look forward to seeing you on Monday or for the 2 weeks of the voting period. Everything is open 7 to 7 except on Sunday, the first week. And that day we have about half of our sites open. And they'll be open noon to 6 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you, John. As also you all know, October 24th, that is next Monday. The polling is going to be open for next 10 days until November 4th. Election day is November 8th, as you all know. And it is important. We have, as you all know, we are growing exponentially in Fort Bend County. The unofficial numbers from June is showing that we have over 882,577 people live in Fort Bend County. And we had almost 504,000 registered voters before, and the current registered voters number is
522.
522. The current number of registered voters are 522,000. John, when you started, maybe 10 years ago, how many people?
14 years ago, when it was slightly under 300,000.
300,000. We added an additional 222,000 people last 10 to 14 years. So we are a growing community, and also I have to give you some more information. The early voting, of course, I mentioned about the timing, and it is 7 to 7. Before there was some conflict with people understanding some polls closing early and things of that nature. This time there is no confusion. 28 locations, all of them will be open 7 to 7 as like election day. And also we have county-wide polling places. That means as long as you can see a vote here sign, if it is in Fort Bend County, you would be able to vote. You don't have to go to any specific location during early voting and also election day. And so again, election day is also 7 to 7. And so making sure, as long as you are 659, you are on the line, I should say, and you will get an opportunity to vote. That is correct? You will get an opportunity to vote. Don't think, a little bit late kind of thing, and try to vote, and your vote is your voice. And I am so excited that there are a couple of people joined me here today. One is very exciting, Jaslin Jose. She is a first-time voter. I'm very excited about it. I remember taking my daughter last year. She was the first-time voter last election cycle. And it is exciting, and seeing that our young people is participating in our democracy. And so I just wanted to invite Jaslin to say a few words.
Thank you, Judge. Hello, everybody. My name is Jaslin Jose. I'm 19 years old, and I currently am a freshman at the University of Houston. This is my first time voting in a general election, and I am very excited to take part in local politics and make a direct impact on my community. As a first-time voter in the general election, I want to remind all other first-time voters to make a plan and get prepared to vote, to go to the polls, by checking your registration status at texas.gov. The last day to register was October 11th. Learn about early voting options, absentee voting, mail-in voting, and in-person voting. Find out where you can vote in person on Election Day. Personally, I go to the Cinco Ranch Branch Library in La Cetera. Research the candidates running for office to learn about their platforms in order to make a well-informed vote. Share your voting plan with your family and friends, and encourage them to make their own voting plan. Then cast your ballot and let your voice be heard. Remember, you will be asked to show a photo ID to vote in Texas. Any of the following are applicable: Texas driver's license issued by the Texas Department of Public Safety, Texas election ID certificate, Texas personal ID card, Texas handgun license, U.S. military ID with a photo, U.S. citizenship certificate with photo, it does not need to be current, or a U.S. passport.
See, I couldn't have put it any better than that. So that's why we believe in our young people, and that gave me hope. And also, we have somebody join me. She is a writer and a community activist and engaged in Fort Bend politics. Pretty much most of her life, nonpartisan and engaging and publishing voter ID and things of that nature. A good friend, Sue Hauenstein, is joined with me today. Sue, please come forward and say why it is important to vote.
Again, my name is Sue Hauenstein, and while you represent the young, I represent the old, so we're all represented here today. I want to thank KP George and John Oldham for sharing such valuable information with the public, and you did a great job too. I'm so impressed. There is hope for the future. We have young people engaged. This is great. I strongly encourage all registered voters to show up at the polls. I recommend going early. You never know. You might have a sick child. You might have to work late. Whatever. Anything could happen on Election Day. So it is really important that you vote early and take advantage of any of the options that we have. We are so lucky to live in Fort Bend County with multiple options for voting. Our vote does count. I think that what's important to most people is getting the best candidates. That's what I want. I want you to research your candidates, and I want you to show up and vote for the best person on the ballot. We may not always agree, but we can agree that we want good government. We need to vote like the future depends on it, because it does. We have a lot at stake in this country. Never mind the state, but we have a lot at stake. As the judge said, your vote is your voice, and you need to have your voice heard. Be a part of the process, which I think John did an excellent job of explaining all of that to us. And you can beat the crowds. Vote early. It's really important. Ask for information. You can search information. There are voters' guides online. There are activists in every community. Ask about the candidates and learn about, there's a bond referendum, there's a VOTRA on the, depending on where you live, there's a VOTRA on the ballot. There are other things. There's a mayoral race at the bottom of the ballot. So you really need to vote the ballot top to bottom. Please vote during early voting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sue. You heard from all these people, it is why it is important, why it is important to participate, and also you can check your ballot by mail by going to Secretary of State's website, and also you can take sample ballot or even a voter's guide. You can take inside the polling place, and you could look and vote if you choose to. And Fort Bend County, I'm very proud to say that John already mentioned, we have everything intact, and also when 2 years ago when Commissioner's Court selected the new machine, it is a hybrid machine. That means we have an electronic version of the voting, and also, worst case scenario, we have a paper ballot. And make sure you deposit that ballot before you leave that particular station. Otherwise, your vote is going to be voided. How long, John, would you say how long they are able to, if they forgot or something, come back?
They can. If they leave the building, they're out of luck.
Out of luck. And so please, you need to, until you deposit, scan your voting paper, your vote is not casted. So make sure you are doing that when you're going to the poll. And voting schedule and voting locations, all this information are available on elections, Fort Bend Elections website. You can also, I don't even talk to people much about November 8th because we have 10 days of 12 hours each. Of course, Sunday is a difference a little bit, but other than that, 10 days of early voting, 7 to 7. And please go and vote. If you wanted to check your voter registration, if you are current and things of that nature, you could go to www.votetexas.gov. Because of the Senate Bill 1, we wanted to make sure that the infrastructure and processes of our election office are intact, and we are very confident about that. And definitely, John mentioned about all the precautions and all the training is happening right behind us here. And thank you, John, for doing a stellar job. And especially, you have a lot of new people to train, as you mentioned this time. But one thing I just wanted to continue to tell our citizens: your vote matters, and your vote is secured in Fort Bend County. And make sure if you have any question, you're welcome to reach out to Fort Bend Elections, and if you see anything wrong happening, it need to be reported, you could reach out to our law enforcement. And once again, I just wanted to say thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of the great democracy as we are. And the democracy only works when our citizens participate. And your participation is the most important thing. And I repeat again, if you don't vote, you don't matter. And please go ahead and vote. And once again, if you need anything, Fort Bend Elections, Fort Bend County Judge's Office, anywhere you can reach out, more information. We are here to help and support. Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Yeah. So, how many of these measures, if any of them, are new? Right. So, are there any new measures taken as opposed to?
What do you mean,
as opposed to?
Oh, you mean measures? Mean procedures?
Yeah, procedural. And
Come on in, John. Talk to the microphone.
Basically, not. Some of the procedures we implemented and we were refining, but they were as a result of Senate Bill 1, which went into effect January 1, was passed during the third legislative session, special session. But for example, you see blue binders laying on the tables. Our trainer Kevin back here has organized this stuff into make it more user-friendly for voters, but the stuff is essentially the same. We have changed some of our chain of custody forms as a result of refinement, and some of this comes from the SOS, some of it comes from our experiences, some of it comes from looking at things that have happened, say, in Harris County or other counties. We want to avoid that. So we've tried to make forms more user-friendly when we legally can, but otherwise the procedures have pretty much been the same since we implemented this system, which our voters seem to like.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we will conclude this conversation here, and thank you once again. Thank you for listening. Once again, Fort Bend voters, please go out and vote from next Monday for 10 days. If you miss it, election day is November 8th. And I wanted to wish you, each and every one of you, good luck with upcoming election, and look forward to seeing you out there. We will be walking around and talking to people and things of that nature, engaging people. So thank you so much. Thank you for being here.